C.S. Lewis says that to love at all is to be vulnerable. Love anything, and your heart will become wrung and possibly broken. Loving and accepting love involves a bit of risk. Being vulnerable at all, being vulnerable enough to love someone and to accept love, involves opening up a cavern in your heart that could potentially be filled with pain. And if it then is filled with pain, then this could completely define how you view love, how you accept it, how you receive it within the future. Love could become a reminder of pain and not of God. I want to tell you about how I learned what love really looks like, how I went from seeing it as a threat to seeing it as a blessing. The first event that really shook my perception of love was an event that made me perceive love as conditional. When I was 12, my parents got divorced, and growing up, I saw their marriage as something unshakable. And so when they got divorced, I began to see love as something that was conditional, as something that could end. And seeing love as something that was conditional led me to having thoughts such as, if my mom loved my dad conditionally, then she must love me conditionally. And if my mom loved my dad conditionally, then who will be able to love me unconditionally? Then I began to see love as untrustworthy. My first serious relationship led me to believe that love was something not to be trusted. Within this relationship, when I was 15, the person that claimed to love me the most was the most unfaithful to me, and love became just a long list of unending lies. I then began to see love as fearful throughout my entire adolescent development period of my life. My mom was absent for most of this time, for most of my adolescent development, and because of this trauma, the act of loving somebody was fear-inducing. The thought of loving someone and being abandoned by them like I was my mom was paralyzing. Love became something that held me back, that was too scary, and that was paralyzing, that left me stiff. It wasn't until God began to restore my definition of love that everything changed. When I was 17, I said yes to an internship at a local church, and that is when I began to see His perfect love redefine and completely restore all the lies about love that I had been believing for my entire childhood and teenage years. I began to see how God's love was unconditional by His faithfulness in bringing me out of isolation and into community. I began to see how God's love was trustworthy as I began to see His promises in my life unfold. I began to see how God's love destroyed fear by how He met me on the outside of my comfort zone. And now, as a 20-year-old, I can say that although the process of love in my mind being redefined was challenging, I am all the better for it, because now I can use what I experienced to that much more love people better and help them redefine love in their life and point them towards the perfect love, God's love, which redefined the love in my life.